Sadly, I had to move out of my apartment last month. While moving out, I was carrying a blender to my car when I passed my landlord, who said, "Wow, you really like that blender, huh?" I was confused and just replied, "Yep." Now, a month later, it's only just occurred to me, this is not my blender and is actually my landlord's that he lent to us. Should I give it back? It's been so long, and I actually do really like this blender. That's from Blender Burglar in BC. Hachi Machi.
Hachi.
That's it is. Wow. Wow, that's rough.
I have many thoughts.
Oh, good. Let's enumerate them for us, middle brother.
First, broad thought, just to address one thing right there in the middle. It's been so long. I do not know if you take something from someone that there's a length of time. I think we might have discussed this before. There's not a length of time that you own it before it is not stolen anymore.
No, it's always stolen, yes.
It's always stolen.
That said, there does seem to be an implied, like, that the landlord said, you must really like that blender, and not, hey, give me my fucking blender back.
Well, I mean, I feel like, wow, you really like that blender, huh? Got the job done for 99% of people who heard it. Most people who hear that would have the fucking neuron fire in their brain that would go like, oh, fuck, I stole this. This is a very special edge case where they're like, wow, what a great blender compliment, which does not exist.
But can you imagine what went through that landlord's head when you just replied, yep?
What's your relationship with your landlord like? Where you're like, damn, we got a lot of frozen strawberries and some yogurt and some almond milk. Let's make some fucking strawberry smoothies up in this shit. Uh-oh, we don't have a blender. It's cool. I know a guy. It's my landlord. I'll just go hit them up for a blender really quick.
What? It is, yeah, okay. I want to go back. I need to flash back to the inception of this. Did you think that you would go to your landlord and say, do you have a spare blender? And anyone would say, yes, I do have a spare blender. That's wild already. How did that even come up in conversation, right? Because everybody's got the one blender that they use.
Yeah. Did it come with the apartment? Because if so, there are many things that come with the apartment that you can't take with you.
So your insane landlord was like, hey, look, and better yet, this place is furnished. And it's just one blender on the counter.
It is possible that maybe the landlord just got married. And so they do have a lot of blenders. Or it could just be that they
fucking inverse though. Your landlord comes down, knocks on your door. Hey, random shot in the dark. Y'all don't need a blender, do you? Because I got a spare. Now, and I'm just going door to door asking if anyone needs a blender.
You say that, my man, but I've had a lot of landlords, and at least 2 of them would have done that.
Yeah.
Like, I had a landlord that would come by often and just knock and be like, do you guys need anything? Because they managed a bunch of properties and like people would leave stuff places. And then they'd be like, somebody left like a microwave. What's your microwave situation like? And it's like, I don't know. They were weirdly involved in our whole deal. They came and were like, do you want me to plant tomatoes for you? And I was like, no, they'll die. I'm not going to care for those things.
If this person needed a blender, if they were kind of a blender person, and everybody knows,
right,
they have to have replaced it by this point.
Oh,
and then what you're doing, if you try to return it, what you're doing is like, you have 2 blenders now. This is your problem.
It's a victimless crime. Now, let me say real quick,
it's not a victimless crime.
The person.
No, by definition, we know, Griffin, we in fact know who the victim is that is described in the question.
Let me just say this, though. Let me get this out there. Knowing landlords, and every landlord I've ever had and every landlord that exists on the planet, I bet if you close your eyes and think real hard, you could think of something they have done that you can now frame this act as one of justice and frame yourself like the Scarlet Pimpernel liberating blenders from crooked landlords all across this great nation of ours. Whether it's a disagreement about security deposit, or they, yelled at you because you were playing Rock Band too loud, like whatever the fuck it is. I think you probably could come up with some justification for this. Yes?
Now, I do have a solution. If you are just ed up with guilt and you need to return this blender, but you don't want to do it like face to face or anything that acknowledges your that you mindfully took this blender. I'm going to give you 3 words. Brave little toaster. You need to do a job to make it seem like the blender has escaped your house and made it back to the landlord's house, the landlord that they love so much that maybe it's a blender and like a little radio and maybe an electric blanket and a desk lamp. And they have all made it back to see the landlord master, which, by the way, in that show, they called the guy master. It's very weird.
It's not great.
But now the brave little blender has returned. And hey, so there's a second Brave Little Toaster movie. There's Brave Little Toaster.
Is this going somewhere?
Thank you.
It is. But there's another sequel to Brave Little Toaster where the Brave Little Toaster and friends are able to communicate with animals. And now this crosses into a lot of questionable kind of science where I can accept that the toaster and the radio and the lamp and the vacuum and the electric blanket can all talk to each other. But now they can also talk to monkeys and dogs and cats and like mice and rats and stuff.
Unhinged screed that you have deviated. It was like you just did a magic trick to me, Travis, because I don't know where it fucking flipped.
It's hard enough to wrap my mind around the fact that cats and dogs and rats and stuff can communicate. But
Don't get me wrong. Your protests against this movie franchise are well understood, and there's a lot of meat there for us to dig our teeth into. They went to fucking Mars at one point. They flew there on a ceiling fan. Get fucking real, Brave Little Toaster. We're out here trying to do stuff. But also, Travis, ostensibly, this is an advice show, and we were talking about a thing, and you turned it into...
Yeah, but we finished that, and I want to talk about Brave Little Toaster.
Okay, interesting.
How about Yahoo? Can we have a Yahoo?
How does the Brave Little Toaster talk to a dog?
Please.
Okay. With fucking magic. Why is it alive? It shouldn't be alive. All toasters are dead. Yeah. Here's a
If the master sees the Brave Little Toaster move, does the Brave Little Toaster die?
All ceiling fans are dead. All toasters, ceiling fans, electric blankets are dead. Next question.
I actually do have an additional question.
Yeah.
If the Brave Little Toaster dies, is it then just a toaster?
Good question. Well, you would think that if it dies, it ceases to make toast, right?
Holy shit. Okay.
Because like if my body dies, I don't keep making things with my body, right?
Listen.
Well, then again, some people do evacuate their bowels after death, so maybe.
Stop it.
So if he dies, you get one last good toast out of him. That's what you're saying. Okay.
If he dies mid-toast, he goes in to finish it up.
He does get one more toast.
From Radiant Hate.
Let's put a button on it. Here's what to do to get out of this situation. Nothing. Fucking chill on the smooth tip. You're good. Free toaster. Enjoy. Here's a Yahoo that was sent in by Graham Robot.
It was a blender. The toaster was the whole...
Fuck, you fucking ruined me, Travis.